All right, welcome back, dear viewers. Today I'm going to do a real quick video. Just a Stupid Dungeon by James Edward Raggi IV. I'll get back to Alien RPG next week. I completely forgot I have my buddies running his Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Second Edition game today, and we play once a month. It's like a 6 to 8 hour session where we make food and we have fellowship, and it's a fun time. I've known the guys for a long time, so it's kind of like how we do things. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot of time. But I wanted to give you something. So we're gonna do this one. But before we get into it, you know, per the usual, if you're new to this channel, what I do is I play games. I run those games and record myself running those games so you can see me playing them, and then I talk about them. I have, nothing against the flip through review, but it's been my experience that sometimes what you read doesn't translate quite well to the tabletop, and that might alter whether or not you really should pick up the game, and that's kind of what I want to offer you. So if that's just something that you like, actual plays and game reviews, hit like and subscribe, bell icon, yada, yada, yada. Okay, let's get started. So, Just a Stupid Dungeon is pretty much what the name is. It's just a stupid dungeon. It's a very simple, straightforward dungeon crawl of sorts, but it's a bit more than that, I guess, to be a little bit more blunt about it. And I'll kind of walk you through my thoughts as I kind of briefly go over it. I don't want to make any spoilers here. I don't want to give away anything. So it's going to be somewhat vague. And the reason being is that this is just essentially a funhouse dungeon slash death trap type dungeon. That is predominantly what your players are going to be encountering, traps. But they're really cool and interesting, and that's why reading them, I said, "Wow, I really want to use this," and that's why I put it in the campaign. One of the reasons why I put it in the campaign. There's also some magical loot in here that is well, there's magical loot, and I don't see that often in Lamentations modules. And truth be told, I'm finding it a challenge converting Dungeons and Dragons modules to a Lamentations game, because Dungeons and Dragons sort of has baked into it this idea of, oh, you're going to find a +1 sword or a +3 axe, and I don't want to use that kind of magic because that's not really what Lamentations does. Um, so all right, so the I really like I said, I really like the traps and room encounters. They're all kind of themed around the concept of the color spray, and that will, if you when you read it and use it, you'll see why when you get to the end, so to speak. Um, and each color kind of is thematic for the room, and is a bit of a clue, but not much for the big trap that happens near the end. I think the traps are really designed well. They're all my players. They only encountered like I think three of them out of the six trap rooms, not including the big one in the center. And they really played with those rooms a lot, trying to figuring them out, and I really liked that. I It was a lot of fun just watching them and listening to them try to figure out how to get through these rooms. And there is a reward. There are rewards. Sadly, my players didn't get all of them, or close to any of them. but but there are rewards for sort of surviving the traps and figuring the traps out. Um, Interestingly, and I'm going to probably touch upon this a little bit more later in the video, the whole dungeon is a trap, and one of the big clues is the doors themselves. Like I said, there's the colors, but one door is green, and all the doors have airtight seals. So, I mean, savvy players should pick up on that real quick. Otherwise, who knows that's what's going to happen. But okay, so there are two factions, and they're two warring rat lords, and by rat lords I don't mean like were rat creatures. No, they're rats. Um, the backstory for this dungeon is that there's was probably a magic user or something that was locked in here. So maybe the rat lords, due to the magic, have some kind of heightened intelligence, something like that. But it's kind of eh. Um, the rat swarms are kind of deadly though. They have 40 hit points and they automatically hit as they just swarm over people. But when you're in the rat dens, you can interact with the rats and you can get treasure and whatnot, and they can kind of leave you alone if the players are, giving away some food or something. But so I guess there is sort of faction play possible, but I think it's really sort of unnecessary. Like, this dungeon would still be cool even without the rats, in my opinion. So that's why I'm kind of like, whatever. The treasure is cool, and they have to work for it, but when they get it, it's cool, and they're neat magic items, and they're very unique, as typical for Lamentations of the Flame Princess. And I think this module contains some good examples of how to make magic items for Lamentations. They're just weird, and they do odd things, but clever players will make the most out of them. The most straightforward magic item, and I'm giving you an example here because my players already found it, is the cookbook. You basically make magic bread, and it can increase your players' stats and whatnot. However, it's extremely fragile, and every time you flip the page, dice are rolled to see if the pages disintegrate. My players have been incredibly lucky because they keep opening the book looking for clues, and but I did like the cookbook, and I put this dungeon in my map partly because one of the players was playing a halfling cook, and I thought that might be fun for him. Too bad he died. So why did I use this? Why did I put it in my Lamentations of Elemental Evil campaign? Well, like I said, I like the traps, and I thought it would be something a bit different from what the players had been doing. At the time I put this in, they had just defeated the new master at the Moat House, so I had like this earthquake, and and so part of the hillside slipped away and revealed this door. Okay, the Moat House was your standard D&D module. This was very non-standard, so I thought it'd be something different. Again, magic items are different but still useful, and I wanted to give the players an opportunity to get those. So that was my read of it. Now, when I started playing it, I quickly dawned on me that the big surprise trap, which I'm not going to reveal, could have seriously altered my campaign. And I should have thought this through, and I didn't. So that's on me. But it could really change your campaign much in the same way the summon spell could. So yeah. So be forewarned. Be prepared. And in retrospect, had it happened, I could have rolled with it and would have totally changed everything about the campaign. But yeah, but that's one of the big things you got to think about. And I think this is a good example of what I'm talking about. Reading this, it was a lot of fun to read. Playing it, I was like, oh, okay, this required a little bit more work. Another example too is the opening encounter is these keys that are in this door, and all these dead birds around, and there's rumors from children that say, if you touch the keys or the door or something, you die. But I don't know if that's actually the case. Like, James didn't really mention it, so I decided to make it real. Like, if you touch the keys, you die, and if you made your saving throw, you're at half hit points, that kind of thing. It could have been just a troll, like the keys don't kill you. I guess that's up to you. But all right, $64,000 question. Should you buy Just a Stupid Dungeon? Well, that depends. I mean, it's only $4 at DrivethruRPG, the PDF, okay? And it is a bit of a troll on your players. Like, if you really want to screw with them and give them something to kind of laugh about, or get frustrated with, or challenge them, whatever, okay, this is definitely worth it. If you have like a routine, weekly, monthly, bi-weekly game where you guys are just doing one-shots, this might be a fun session. I mean, this took about 4 hours, split between 2 videos, okay? 2-hour videos. So this could be done in one session. So it's a nice little one shot just to kind of give players something to do for the evening. Um, what I like about it though is this like hex map trap concept that I started pondering after reading Mark Hess's book, um, The Witch's Shack. Um, I'm not going to go into that module, but this isn't like a mega dungeon or even a regular dungeon where there's like a module, like there's all this lore around it. It's just a stupid dungeon that you place on your map. And I think this would be a really nice incidental thing to put on your hex map that the players can stumble upon and then just sort of be like, what is this? Much like when they walk into a dungeon room and see something weird and are like, okay, what is this? And then they start poking around to try to figure it out. Like, and I think Just a Stupid Dungeon and Mark Hess's The Witch's Shack are traps in that regard. Like something you stumble upon on the hex map that is essentially a trap, and it's not part of a grand quest. It can add something weird to your world. So if you're interested in something like that, that would $4 is a no-brainer. I would put this in the same category as something like Castle Amber too. Like just a lot of strange encounters in each room, and if you like that sort of thing too, Just a Stupid Dungeon is right up your alley. If you don't like that sort of thing, if you like something a little bit more, I guess, like lore and background around the dungeon or the location, the adventure location, this you're not going to get anything out of this. You'll actually have to put some work into it. If you prefer more faction play in your dungeons, this is probably not for you. If you are more of a new school player and don't want to put your players through some seriously challenging like traps and puzzles, probably, and you're more focused on story, again, this is probably not for you. But if you're a little bit more interested in that, seeing what the players can tease out and figure out and poke around with, this is perfect. So there you go. I'm glad I picked it up. I'll probably use it again and do something a little different with it next time I use it. But so there you go. All right, guys, like I said, a quick video today. I hope you have a great afternoon. I hope you have some good games. I hope my second edition game doesn't get me killed. And yeah, let me know what you think. Also, I've been thinking about doing another video series called Behind the Dungeons Master Screen, where I just kind of talk about how I do things. Frankly, I think there's plenty of talking heads out there. But if that's something you'd be interested, leave a comment below. Let me know if you care about my opinion on how to do things. I won't be offended, honestly. I'm having fun making these videos as is. So, all right. Take care, everyone.